Good evening. Welcome to ThaiPBS English News Service. Tonight you're with me, Rungtip Chotnaparai. Despite opposition by the Red Shirt movement to the Rot Nam Dam Hua ceremony for Privy Council Chairman Premtin Suranon, the government insists that the ceremony is a good start on the road to national reconciliation. Meanwhile, the police have already stepped up security around General Prem's house at Si Sao Thewet. The Metropolitan Police Bureau has stepped up security around General Prem's house at Si Sao Thewet by assigning 150 police to be on duty there. The Rot Nam Dam Hua ceremony for Privy Council Chairman Premtin Suranon will be performed by Prime Minister Yingluck Shinawatra and the Cabinet at 3 p.m. tomorrow. Meanwhile, General Sukampol Suwannathat, Defense Minister, says that meeting General Prem tomorrow is not only to pay the respect to him as one of the country's great statesmen, but also to encourage an atmosphere of political reconciliation. Some people still believe that General Prem and the government stand on opposing sides. There are reports that some people from the Red Shirt group will conduct a memorial ceremony at Rajapasong intersection tomorrow for a nurse who died during the political unrest in 2010. The family of the relatives of the deceased political victims will also attend the ceremony to share their opinions about the political crisis in 2010. This teak wood building was in its final phase of interior decoration, but now it is little more than a pile of debris. Fortunately, however, no Tripitaka Buddhist relics or Buddha images were destroyed in yesterday's inferno. The abbot of the temple, along with their other senior monks, suggest an electrical short circuit may be the cause of the fire. Tourists, Thai and foreign, continue to visit this 680-year-old temple, which is a top tourist site in Ayutthaya province. But the scene of fire is off limits to visitors because of the fear of falling debris. The cost of this incident is estimated to be around 100 million baht. Come this May, Thai households will face an upward adjustment in electricity price of at least 7% following Energy Regulatory Commission approval of an increase in fuel tariff of 30 stang per unit. The increase is due to the soaring price of natural gas used for electricity generation, which is in line with the world's upward trend in price. Here's more.
Electricity prices for household use from May to August this year will rise to 3 baht 80 satang per unit, an increase from the current average price of 3 baht 50 satang. This follows the Energy Regulatory Commission's approval of an increase in the fuel tariff of another 30 satang per unit. For the public, this means electricity bills will increase by 7 to 8% per month from now on. The real cost of electricity is 57 satang per unit. This means that the Electricity Generating Authority of Thailand, or EGAT, has to shoulder the cost of subsidizing electricity for the second 4-month period, at a cost of 20 billion baht, a 5 billion baht increase from the first 4 months of this year. The Energy Regulatory Commission says that the public has to be informed so as to prepare for the higher electricity price. At the same time, the fuel tariff will also see gradual phased increases to reflect the higher cost of electricity generation and to reduce the burden on EGAT. Business operators, on the other hand, are certain that the upward adjustment of the electricity price by another 30 satang per unit will further aggravate their situation, especially coming so soon after the introduction of 300 baht minimum wage. Somman Khunset, Deputy Secretary General of the Federation of Thai Industries, says that some business operations may even have to close down. The higher electricity price is likely to have a significant impact on Thai households, as the hotter weather pushes the public's electricity consumption sky high. Today's power consumption reached a new peak for the 6th time this year. According to EGAT, power consumption peaked at 25,682 megawatts today, with the average temperature standing at 38.4 degrees Celsius. The previous peak was registered yesterday at 25,551 megawatts.
Apart from the soaring of the electricity prices, consumers have to now also be prepared for a hike in transportation fares, as the Ministry of Transportation recently approved increasing transportation fares as demanded by business operators. Here's more. The Ministry of Transport has approved a 1 baht per kilometer increase to fares on Bangkok-run buses. The rise would take effect as soon as the price of NGV is adjusted upward to 9 baht 50 stang. Meanwhile, fares for interprovincial buses will see a rise of 4 stang per kilometer, while fares for local minibuses will also increase from 5 baht to 7 baht, and local minibus services operating between 10 p.m. and 5 a.m. will increase their fares to 9 baht, effective May 15th. The Federation of Labour indicates that some firms in the 7 pilot provinces have been found not paying their employees the new minimum wage of 300 baht, but instead they are also adding welfares into the daily remunerations. The Federation now urged related agencies to act as a middleman and establish a common ground among employees and employers on the definition of minimum wage. Following the April 1st, the implementation of the government's 300 baht minimum wage policy in 7 pilot provinces, including Bangkok, Phuket, the Federation of Labour reviews that many employees have lodged complaints about the not receiving the adjusted minimum wage. The employees argue that their employers often include welfare, such as overtime compensation and living expenses, in their daily remunerations. If these additional benefits are excluded, however, their daily minimum wage will have remained unchanged. On Labor Day this year, which falls on May 1st, the Federation of Labour will hold a symposium to strike a mutual understanding between employees and employers on the term minimum wage. Originally, the private sector campaigned for a postponement of a rise in the minimum wage, but the effort was met with disapproval from the Ministry of Labour, which continued to press ahead the policy in which the minimum wage will be set at 300 baht nationwide effective January 1st on next year. The ministry reasons that this is to ease the public's anxiety over the rising cost of living. Leaders of Burmese labor in Mae district of Tak province are filing a complaint to the International Labour Organization and the Office of the National Human Rights Commission of Thailand after 2 Burmese workers were found dead in a 10-wheel truck which was being used by the Immigration Bureau of Songkhla province to deport them from the kingdom. Mongso and Mila, 2 Burmese laborers, were found dead in a 10-wheel truck on April 17th. Thai immigration police officers of Songkhla province were in the process of extraditing 62 Burmese workers to Myanmar through Mae district of Tak province. Officials revealed that the deaths were caused by suffocation arising from the scorching hot weather and the overcrowded vehicle, which had been on the road for 2 days. However, the slow progress of the case has caused much frustration among leaders of Burmese labor in Mae district, who are now asking the Thai government to take full responsibility for the misfortune, claiming that it was a breach of human rights. The labor leaders are preparing to file complaints with the International Labour Organization, or ILO, and the Office of the National Human Rights Commission of Thailand. Meanwhile, the Mekong Migration Network, or MMN, is urging the Thai government to review its methods used when extraditing alien workers, as well as to offer compensation and make the judicial process accessible to the victims' families. Today, Australians and New Zealanders are attending the commemorative service held at war memorials around the world to mark Anzac Day, or Australian and New Zealand Army Corps Day, remembering the sacrifice of Australians and New Zealanders who died in wartime. Anzac Day in Thailand is commemorated by conducting a memorial service at the Kanchanaburi Allied War Cemetery. Here's more from Kun Kan Kong Ratham.
Each year on April 25th, a dawn service at Hellfire Pass and a memorial service and wreath-laying ceremony are held at Kanchanaburi Allied War Cemetery to pay tribute to Australian and New Zealand soldiers who died during the Second World War. Kanchanaburi province was where the Japanese forced Allied prisoners to construct part of the Burma-Thailand railway link.
When Australians all around the world commemorate this landing at Gallipoli in the First World War. So it's our way of paying respect to all Australian soldiers and New Zealand soldiers who have died in all wars. The First World War, the Second World War, Vietnam, the railway, every war, Afghanistan and Iraq.
Kanchanaburi War Cemetery contained the bodies of approximately 7,000 soldiers who died during the Second World War. This cemetery was also established to pay tribute to the prisoners of war who were forced to construct the Myanmar Railway. The Imperial Japanese Army decided to construct a railway link connecting the existing railways in Myanmar and Thailand in 1942. The construction of bridges over the rivers and valleys took place in difficult terrain, and many soldiers suffered illnesses and early death. The brutality of the war took over 100,000 lives of prisoners of war to build the railway over the River Kwai, hence the railway was called the Death Railway. During the war, some Thais in Kanchanaburi provided food and medical supplies to the prisoners of war, so Anzac Day in Kanchanaburi also pays tribute to those Thais who helped the soldiers. Bunpong Siriwechapan, a shopkeeper and one-time mayor of Kanchanaburi, is honored as a Thai angel because he had risked his life to smuggle in money and medicines from the Japanese camps along the Death Railway to help the prisoners of war. Ajahn Lamyai Siriwechapan says that even though her father passed away some time ago, the family of one of the prisoners of war traveled around the world to visiting the Siriwechapan family, and they always want her to tell the unforgettable story and thank her family for giving assistance to their ancestors during the Second World War. On Anong Palang Thirasin, owner of the shop on Park Prak Road, was another of those who provided food to the soldiers during the Second World War when she was only about 10 years old. She says seeing the military bus drive past her house every day gave her the idea to help the prisoners by throwing bananas and peanuts every day when the bus passed her house. To this day, Australians are still very grateful to those Thais who helped their ancestors. Ceremonies on Anzac Day in Thailand are also performed to pay tribute to the brave Thais. Kankonrak Tham, Thai PBS.
The UN Secretary General's Special Advisor on Myanmar has expressed confidence in Myanmar's government's ability to incorporate newly elected democracy leader Aung San Suu Kyi and her opposition party within the country's military-dominated parliament. Here's more.
United Nations Special Advisor Vijay Nambia said yesterday that he expected both the opposition and the government to resolve a recent dispute over the wording of the country's constitution.
I'm quite sure that there is wisdom on both sides to be able to get through this, because I can't envisage them having taken this major step to come through the elections in order to have this kind of an impediment.
Aung San Suu Kyi's opposition party refused to take its new seats in Parliament on Monday because of a dispute over one word in the lawmaker's oath. But party officials said the issue would be overcome soon, and the Southeast Asian nation's president supports that view. Suu Kyi's party, the National League for Democracy, objects to phrasing in the oath that says that they must, quote, safeguard the Constitution, a document they have vowed to amend because it gives inordinate power to the military and was drafted during an era of army rule. UN Secretary-General Ban Ki-moon had said recently that Myanmar has seen encouraging economic and political reforms, followed by recent landmark elections and important steps forward towards reconciliation. Hugh Adams, Thai PBS.